Well, right now, we're joined by Aaron Whiteley. He's the vice chairman of the Chatham County Democratic Committee. So, Aaron, we're looking at Joe Biden with this enormous lead in South Carolina. He takes the state tonight by a huge margin. What does that say as we move through Super Tuesday and then eventually to Georgia? Are we in this?
I think it says that some people may have counted Joe Biden out a little bit too soon. I also think that it's showing that minority voters, as well as the older block of voters, are really playing a big role. Pew Research Center had some stats where they said, I think it's about a quarter or nearly a quarter of the electorate in our country will be made up of people age 65 and up. So with that being the case, Joe resonates with some of those folks, especially a lot of the minority ones.
So let's talk about the minority vote, because we've seen this happen before. We've seen Barack Obama get to South Carolina, get that commanding lead, take the primary, and then go on that ride through the southern states where there are a lot of black voters. We saw Hillary Clinton do the same thing. Do we think that Biden now has that momentum, or does Bernie really throw a wrench in all of that conventional thinking?
In my opinion, I think it all comes down to voter turnout. Bernie has a large amount of support from younger voters, as you showed in your graphic there. So with that being the case, if those folks come out to vote, then it's really going to be a pretty tight fight, or excuse me, a close fight. But again, historically, that block is not normally turning out to vote. They're registered, but they're not necessarily coming out to vote. So I do think we're in for an interesting couple of weeks here coming up.
I think the last time I checked with Chatham County, there were over 200,000 registered voters leading up to our primary in Georgia. You on the Democratic Committee for the county, what steps are you all taking? Do you see a big vote coming for us?
Yes, we saw historic, in the last two major elections, we've seen some historic numbers. And with that being said, one of the things that we're really focusing on is just the election security, So making sure that our elections are secure, making sure that everybody gets the opportunity to vote. Also, one of the things that we understand is that Democrats are made here. When you look at Chatham County historically is blue. And so with that, we have to turn out the vote. Again, regardless of who the nominee is, we need to get behind them and make sure that we are putting our best foot forward to get everybody out to the polls, make sure every vote is counted, so that we can show our strength here in Chatham County.
You're in Chatham County, we're in Chatham County, but as you look at the counties immediately surrounding us, are they turning a little more blue? Are they purple? Or are we firmly red in the surrounding counties?
I would say we're relatively red, pretty red in the surrounding counties. You have some changes taking place as you see more and more people, when you look at the economy now, more and more people are buying houses. Some folks are moving towards the outskirts, and it's kind of creating a mix when it comes to partisan lines, if you will. However, I think that as time progresses, as our metropolitan area grows, then we'll see some of those changes make some of those outside areas purple than blue.
So one more question I wanted to ask you, because we've talked a lot about the black vote and the influence that the black vote has, South Carolina, Georgia, other southern states, but we've heard more this year that there are black voters who are splintering off from what the norm would be for us to vote. Does that decrease our power as black voters, would you say?
No, I don't think so. And this is my opinion. A well-informed voter is stronger than somebody who's just doing what mama told them to do. And so I think we're in an age where voters are getting more informed, and when we're talking about African Americans are getting more engaged. And with that being the case, we're having more informed voters and more people who are voting based on their own experiences. And in our country, the African American experience varies from two different spectrums, if you will. So with that being the case, I think that it doesn't take away our power, if you will, as African Americans, because our power is not only in our vote, it's in our well-informed vote. And so it's a matter of making sure that African American voters and the other minority groups, as we saw in your graphic earlier. Hispanics are becoming a large part of that group, you know, and actually are the largest percentage of minority voters. So with that being said, it's all about everybody being educated and making decisions on facts and not on what somebody tells them or on people's opinions.
We love a well-educated voter. Yes, all right. Aaron Whiteley, the first vice chair of the Chatham County Democratic Committee. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right.